If your onions keep turning soft or growing mold way too fast, there's a good chance they're being stored right next to their worst enemy. Hey everyone, it's LifeKreativ. For the longest time, I thought my onions were going bad just because they were old. But it turns out the real issue was how I was storing them. Today, I'm going to show you a few simple changes that can keep your onions firm, fresh, and full of flavor for months. Stick around because one of these tips can actually keep your onions fresh for up to a whole year. Have you ever noticed how onions at home seem to spoil so quickly? There are a few reasons for that, but the most common one comes from a habit. A lot of people don't even realize they're bringing onions home from the store and leaving them in the plastic bag. It feels convenient, but that plastic bag is actually one of the main reasons onions go bad so fast. Even if the bag has tiny holes, it still traps moisture. And moisture is onions' #1 enemy. In that closed, stuffy space, mold can grow very quickly. After just a few days, you'll start seeing dark spots on the skin. And when you touch them, the onions feel soft or even mushy. That's because onions really need to breathe. Their thin, papery skins only stay dry and protective when air can move around them. When air gets trapped, the onions become damp, slowly rot and lose their firmness before you even get a chance to use them. So whenever you bring onions home, make it a habit to take them out of the plastic bag right away. Another big reason onions go bad so fast is where you keep them. A lot of people keep onions next to potatoes because it's convenient. But in reality, this is a terrible combination. Onions naturally give off ethylene gas, which causes nearby produce to ripen faster and sprout sooner. When potatoes absorb that gas, they start sprouting much earlier. At the same time, potatoes contain a lot of water and constantly release moisture into the air. That moisture makes onions soft, moldy, and causes them to rot much faster than normal. So one encourages sprouting and the other adds moisture, and they end up ruining each other. The good news is the fix is super simple. Just store onions and potatoes a few feet apart and keep them in separate areas. With this small change, onions stay dry, firm, and fresh much longer. And potatoes won't sprout as quickly either. Now let's go over some proper ways to store onions. Method 1. Store them in a basket or paper bag. As we mentioned earlier, onions hate moisture. So instead of plastic bags, use something breathable, like a basket or a paper bag. If you're using a basket, this works great because it allows plenty of airflow. Gently place the onions inside and don't overcrowd them so they don't bruise each other. This setup lets air move freely around each onion, keeping the outer skins dry and stopping moisture from building up. Note: please keep the basket in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight. Don't wash the onions before storing them. No basket, no problem. You can reuse paper grocery bags or any paper bag you already have at home. Just punch a few holes in it. Those holes act like air vents, helping moisture escape instead of getting trapped. Once your onions are in a breathable container, store them in a dark, cool place, like a pantry, cabinet, or basement. Onions do best at temperatures between 45 and 55 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 7 to 13 degrees Celsius. This keeps them dormant and helps prevent sprouting. With this simple change, your onions can stay firm, dry, and flavorful for weeks or even months, because they get the airflow they need. Method 2. Hanging onions in pantyhose. Another great way to store onions long-term is by hanging them up using pantyhose. All you need is a clean pair. This trick has been used for generations because it creates excellent airflow. They can be torn as long as they're still strong. Note: Don't use dirty stockings or ones that still have an odor. Start by dropping one onion into the toe of the pantyhose. Tie a knot right above it to hold it in place. Add another onion, tie another knot. And keep going until you've made a long chain. This onion chain keeps each onion separated so they never touch. That way, if one onion goes bad, it won't spoil the others. Once it's ready, hang it in a pantry, a cool cellar, or any well-ventilated spot. Air flows freely around each onion, keeping the skins dry and stopping moisture buildup. This helps prevent mold and slows down sprouting. Another bonus is how easy it is to use. When you need an onion, just cut one section off with scissors, or untie the knot if you don't want to cut it. You can reuse the pantyhose over and over again. With this simple but effective method, your onions can stay fresh, firm, and tasty for many months. It saves space by hanging it up high. Don't hang it in hot, damp places or near the stove. Method 3. Storing cut onions. If you only use half an onion and want to save the rest, the solution is simple: use an airtight container. Once an onion is cut, it releases natural juices, and even a small amount of extra moisture can make it slimy or smell unpleasant. Before storing, gently blot the cut side with a dry cloth or paper towel. Then place a clean, dry paper towel at the bottom of an airtight container. This towel absorbs excess moisture and keeps the container dry. Seal the lid tightly and store it in the fridge. Create a closed environment to keep bacteria and smells from spreading in the fridge. Limiting exposure to oxygen helps onions stay fresh longer. Keeping it cool helps slow down spoilage and stops bacteria and mold from growing too fast. Using this method, the onion stays crisp and fresh for up to a week. Keep the smell from spreading in the fridge. Reduce waste by using it little by little instead of throwing the rest away. Keeps you safe and helps prevent mold and bacteria from growing. If the paper towel becomes damp, just replace it with a new one. Helps absorb moisture, keeping the onions crisp and fresh. Stops mold and bacteria from growing. Always keep the container clean. Just make sure the container is sealed well so the smell doesn't spread to other foods. Method 4. Freezing onions. Freezing is another great option, especially if you want onions ready to cook anytime. Peel and cut the onions into small pieces so they're easy to blend. Put them in a blender or food processor. Put the lid on and blend until smooth. You can add a little cooking oil if you want it to last longer and prevent the onions from changing color. No need to add water since it'll make the mixture too runny and take longer to freeze. After the onions are blended, transfer the onions into freezer-safe bags or containers. If using bags, press them flat so the onions form an even layer. Push out as much air as possible to prevent freezer burn. You can even divide the layer into portions using chopsticks before freezing. Lay the bag flat in the freezer. Frozen onions won't stay crisp when thawed, but the flavor remains great for cooking. They're perfect for quick meals. Just snap off what you need and toss it straight into the pan. No thawing required. Stored this way, onions can last up to 6 months while keeping their aroma and taste. It's a simple, time-saving method that ensures you always have onions ready. That wraps up today's video. If you found these tips helpful, please give the video a like. It really supports the channel. I'd also love to hear from you. Which onion storage method do you use at home? Share it in the comments below. I read everyone and love learning new tips. For more easy kitchen hacks that save time and money, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.